All right, if you guys can just start off and just let me know what project you guys are involved in, and please introduce yourselves.
Anthony de Blasi, I'm the director of The Test.
I'm Sean Hayter. I'm the writer-director of Dog Eat Dog.
I'm Alex Fascia. I'm the producer of Born Yesterday.
I'm Ash Lindsay, and I was in Born Yesterday.
My name is Nate Larkin Conley, and I was the writer-director of previous film she mentioned.
I'm Joey Armario, and I wrote and directed NSFW.
Dan Kylock, and I acted in NSFW.
Ethan Cooperberg, writer-director, Fuck the Parent.
Ruth Coughlin, actor in NSFW. Kristen Hansen in NSFW as well.
John Trimutola, actor in NSFW.
Michael Terry, writer, actor in Byron's Theme.
Yeah! Hi, I'm Allison Page. I was both twins in Byron's Theme.
Vanna Barbago, writer, director, composer, Byron's Theme.
Debbie Rankin, co-producer of The Interrogation.
Dawn Fields, producer of The Interrogation.
James Popeiden, producer of Interrogation.
John Whetstone, writer for Interrogation.
All right. It's a little overwhelming. I don't think I've ever had a Q&A this size, so we'll try to do this as well as possible. But I guess my first question is for all the writers and directors of all the shorts, and I think as you can see here, this is a comedic theme. The theme here is comedy, but each one of you takes a very different approach to the subject of comedy. I got a major echo. Can you talk about just kind of how to kind of get the comedic tone in your film, and also you're also working with you're working in a short, so you're very working in, otherwise most full-length features have a lot of time to develop the jokes, develop the ideas and stuff, and you guys have a very short framework. And can you talk about the process of trying to develop those ideas in such a short time frame?
Well, The Test, Lauren, who was here but ran out because she's a coward, the actress, and also Patrick, but Patrick's mother is here. They are both here. And they are outside if they can hear me, damn cowards. Lauren wrote a comedy, and I shot a drama. That's my background isn't comedy at all. I came from horror and more dramatic themes, and I really relate to just the human element in it and the relationships. And the way I went about shooting it is I shot it like a play because it was a really small bathroom, which I wanted, and I let them, have at it. We improv'd a lot, and I would shoot, 14-minute takes every time. I rarely broke it up. I just keep moving the camera and keep shooting. We shot for 2 days like that, and then most of the work was in editing. That caused me a lot more work in the editing room, but I like to do that. So, next.
Dog Eat Dog was actually a true story. Zach is an old friend of mine who is the actor in the movie, and this is what happened when he tried to adopt a dog. And it was I was one of the friends that he called and turned him down, and then this old man showed up with all his friends. But it was it was like a story that I had told at dinner parties a lot, and it always killed at dinner parties. And I was like, well, that kind of feels like it should be a perfect short film because it works, in that kind of audience. And Zach is a very funny actor, and he gets cast all the time as these incredibly dark, scary people. And because he's my friend, I sort of was like, we could do this together and make this little project and showcase your funniness and this great little funny story that happened. So that was it.
For Born Yesterday, the challenge was to take a really silly, funny, outrageous concept and make it so audiences would take it seriously. So it's at its heart, at its beating heart, it's a comedy, but I wanted people to get sort of aroused by the comedy and then fall in love with the drama. So it was sort of a backdoor way to get to a drama was my use of comedy.
I didn't make a comedy, so I was really surprised when my film was put in the comedies. I really just like talking on microphones, though, so I was really happy that I got a chance to do that.
Ever since I was started wanting to make films when I was in elementary school, I've always tried to write parts for myself where I can make out with people. Seriously, I'm a big fan of the television show Louie, which, similarly to what the filmmaker behind Born Yesterday was saying, he does these things where he takes very absurd situations and grounds them in reality. So that was a goal. Once we sort of had the idea of a threesome with a 20-year-old and two people twice his age, the challenge was then to try to ground it in real relationship dynamics.
Oh no, we lost the mic.
So ours wasn't a comedy either, but we're honored to be in this program. But I will take this opportunity to signal some people who didn't follow instructions. Rob Howard, director of photography up there, and 4 producers, Max Barbaco, Nick Lentz, Grace Jackson, Miles Pettingill. We're awesome. Love you guys. Thank you.
I think that a lot of the film also worked on taking small nuances and bringing them to screen, I think, in a very subtle way that I think that some of us find funny in our daily life, like some things that you do that you might find funny, like eating a lot of shellfish or just relaxing with the dog. And I think it's hilarious, and I think it's great to honor that.
Our situation was a little bit different in that we had access to a standing set in California that had a police station, a house, a hospital, an airplane, and we had access to it. So I put out a call to all my friends on Facebook and I said, somebody give me a script that I can shoot at this location that we have access to because we want to take advantage of it. And John came up and answered us and managed to put both of those things in one room. And so that was very clever. Did I say what you kind of wanted to say? Yeah. Okay.
I think one of the cool things about making shorts is that it's a very personal experience, and it's different from being on a big production because it's a smaller crew, and in some sense, if you do have the financing, you are able to afford the crew. But in other cases, in most cases, it involves the help of a lot of friends, and it seems like so much we were talking about you were friends with the film, you were friends with the cast, and I know a lot of other people say that way. And can you kind of talk about that, trying to hustle to get those people to help you work out your films and kind of getting that time, and just it's a group struggle, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we had a tiny crew, like 12 people, and we just, it was something we kept all costs on the production. None of us, it was a labor of love, and we all pulled favors. I pulled favors from features, and a lot of people I had worked with before in sound and DP and stuff like that. But ours was a really small crew, and we only had one location, so it was different.
We were lucky because we put this up on Kickstarter and set out to raise not a lot of money, and I thought it would be a very shoestring kind of thrown together thing that we would shoot over 2 days, which we did, but we ended up raising like 4 times our budget on Kickstarter. So it was something that was really cool because we gave to the LA shelter system, so we sort of used part of our budget to go back to help adopt dogs, which I think was something that we were excited about when we made the movie. But it felt like a very big production suddenly. It was a 2-day shoot, but we had tons of crew, and so it ended up being a much bigger production, I think, than I had set out to make, which was exciting because I think I could do more visually and tell the story in a heightened way. So that was kind of cool.
The best thing to come out of Born Yesterday for me, or one of the best things, is the lead actor is one of my best friends, John Wesselcouch, and I wrote the script. I'm like, here, do you have any girls in mind for this? And he's like, well, I've got this actress in my acting class, Larissa Olenek, and she's cute, and I want to work with her. And so he brought the script to her, and she's like, yeah, I'll do it. Cool, yeah, that sounds fun. And then they started seeing each other a little bit, and then during the shoot is where shit got real, proverbially. And that was a year ago, and still today they're still together. So it's almost as if the couple that formed in the film stayed together forever. It's like the movie continued. They also had sex and had a kid who lived and died in one day, which that was unrelated. That was unrelated to the movie, but.
I finished writing the first draft of my script and sent it to a bunch of friends, and basically spent the weekend crying to myself, thinking that I was never going to make a film. And then one of my best friends, producer Ben York Jones, who's sitting back there, read it and saw something in it, and introduced me to this incredible cast and really helped bring this whole thing together. There's no way I could have done it without him. And I also want to thank Tiff, who's sitting next to him, who did a lot of help for us, a lot of things behind the scenes, and it was so great to have them there supporting me, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So thank you, everyone that helped me on this.
Yeah, I don't think that the hustle and getting your friends to help you and trying to inspire people to work for lower than their going rate, I mean, I think that goes from short films to big budget feature films too. For us, I was just really grateful to have an incredibly funny cast of comedic actors, as well as a very hilarious in their own right producing team. So it was a very densely packed 2-day shoot, but there were a lot of laughs on set.
Oh, there's a.
I think we were just so grateful to have a lot of our crew that was here with us, and so blessed to be able to have days where we were able to just go out and shoot. As one of the other filmmakers said, 12-minute scenes, and just roll the camera and be able to work with our incredible DP and our incredible crew that was there with us for a few days, and just really use the landscape and have the camera be another character in the film, which I think is very important, which we didn't say the other night, which is just that the Rob Hauer, our DP, that is one of the main characters in the film, aside from Byron and myself and Allison as well. So I think that group of friends and that collaboration is what made this so wonderful for me, and I think Ben as well.
It was okay for me, but decent. But yeah, I'll add to that. It was just cool to go out with our loved ones and our trusted family and friends of filmmakers to, get lost in the desert and kind of, as the character did himself, get, sort of explore, go outside of our comfort zone and get weird. And by the way, Byron, the dog, is here. He must have had to take a pee-pee break or something, but he's here tonight as a service dog, and he'll be outside signing autographs afterwards.
For us, it was really fun because we were trying to put it together in a very short amount of time, and so a lot of us wore many hats. As one of the co-producers, I also went shopping for the wardrobe, and I set up the stage, and we had a lot of fun because we were an intimate group that just everybody took on whatever had to be done, and and it worked really well.
I will say this too, shooting, if you've ever worked on location shoots, you'll come to understand the beauty of working on a stage. We got to shoot on a stage, not on location, so we had access to everything, and everything was really easy, and it was all right there for us. So I highly recommend, most short films can't afford to shoot on a stage, but we did a crowdfunding campaign as well, so we raised enough money to do that, and it was a real pleasure to be able to do that in a contained environment.
I think we have so many people here, I want to make sure we get some questions from the audience. Anyone have any questions? Right there.
Could anyone who funded their film, at least partially through crowdfunding, talk about how that process went and how you started with that and how participated in funding your film?
I can start with that real fast. I have a huge following on Facebook that's all other filmmakers. I created an account a couple years ago just to network with other filmmakers. So what worked for us is, as you saw in the credits, we sold associate producer and executive producer credits because that's what my crowd wanted. They wanted those IMDb credits. And that worked like gangbusters for us. It was really easy. We raised over $4,000 in 4 days.
That's all right. I mean, Kickstarter is tricky because there's a lot of you have to be careful with your rewards. I figured out because I think you set out, and I was very, like we'll give everybody dog calendars of all the puppies in the shelter, and and then suddenly you're like, well, that's $10 a calendar, and then suddenly people are giving $20 and they're getting this $10. Like there's a lot of, you really have to work out ahead of time like what you're giving people in exchange, and how much mailing. Like we made mistakes, like had tons of people donate from overseas. So when I was sending out like DVDs, you're spending like $1,000 to send out DVDs to people in other countries. And so I think, I think those are key like Kickstarter, like rookie mistakes that I think if I did it again, I would know all of those things. But it's an amazing way to reach people all over the world, and also to sort of build your audience so that when your film comes out, you have all these people invested in your audience and in social media and promoting your film. So I think it's a brilliant tool. You just have to kind of do your homework before you go in and be prepared to, spend the money to fulfill all the promises that you make.
Do you think that's going to be the future, though? Now that Kickstarter is kind of an avenue for people to go to get funding without having to seek it out from another independent source and stuff, do you feel that that's kind of where the movement's going to go, especially with short films?
Yeah, I've seen Kickstarter. I think the problem is now people are so inundated with Kickstarter projects. I know I go crazy on Kickstarter and I start giving to everybody, and suddenly you're like, wait, I just spent $500 giving to all these, But I think it's an amazing thing, and I think with the internet and everything moving that way, it's a way to build an audience for your project before your project gets made, and have fans along the way and include people in the process. And I think then people are more invested in the product. So I think that is where we're going.
Do you have any other questions? Well, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to come out. I really appreciate it.